Everyone, Alex here for Bright Dog Academy. If you'd like me to personally answer any questions you may have about your dog, be sure to head over to brightdog.com where you can learn about my online training program, plus pick up a copy of the official Bright Dog Academy ebook.
So teaching your dog to sit is a nice command. It's one of the first things you should teach your dog because you're going to learn to train your dog to do other commands out of this position. Now, sit, very simple, means dog, put your butt on the ground. But I like to teach this to our dogs and kind of make it a default command they use to say please. So your dog will come up to you and wants you to give them attention. They can sit automatically. When your dog wants some food, I'll be cooking on the counter. My dog will come up and he won't jump up on the counter. He won't paw at me. He'll just sit. And that's his way of saying, "Okay, give me something. I want something." So sit will also become kind of the dog's default behavior when they're asking for something. So let's get into how we actually teach our dogs to sit. In step one for teaching our dogs to sit, we're doing a couple things. Number one, we're teaching the dog and getting them used to hearing the word sit. We're getting them used to the hand signal, which is going to be this. And we're getting them used to pairing the word and the hand signal with the action of dog, put your butt on the ground. And as we all know what the sit position looks like. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to start off with food, a little treat, in our hand. Food in our hand, and we're going to put it right in front of the dog's nose. And they can be standing, they can be laying down. I would recommend we start with having them standing. It's a little bit easier to do. And all you're going to do is you're going to take your hand and you're going to move it up and over the dog's head. And what's going to happen is as you move your hand with the food up and over their head is going to go back and their butt is going to go down. They're automatically going to go to a sit position without you even touching them. So once they're in the position, that's when you're going to say the command, sit. We don't say anything until they're in the position. We tell them what they're doing while they're doing it. Alright? They get in the position, you say sit, and then you're going to give them the treat that is in your hand and give as the reward for completing the behavior. Okay? So we're luring them to start, treat in our hand, we put it right in front of the dog's nose. Very slowly we bring it up over their head. They can't see where it's going, so their butt hits the ground, they sit. The second that their butt hits the ground, we say sit, and then you give them the treat. Okay? That's step one. Step one, here we go. Treat in my hand, right in front of the dog's nose. Very, very slowly, I bring it up over his head. Very slowly, sit. Right? I don't say anything until he actually does it. Get him to move, get him up, try it again. Treat right in front of his nose, very slowly. I don't say anything. Sit. Good boy. And then he gets it. Right? One more time. Get him up. Treat right in front of his nose. Very, very, very slowly. Sit. Good boy. That's step one. What we do for step two in teaching our dog to sit is basically the opposite of what we did in step one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start off by actually saying the command. Remember in step one, we didn't say anything until the dog did the behavior. Now that the dog gets and has an idea of what sit means, now we're going to start asking for the behavior. So the first thing we're going to do is we say sit. And the next thing we do is see if the dog responds. Does he actually sit just from us saying the word? If the dog does respond and he sits, just from you saying sit, he responds, yes, then you're going to go ahead and give him a treat. And that is his reward for having listened. That's ideally what we want. Now, if you say sit, and he doesn't respond, he doesn't sit, he just, kind of stares up at you, alright? That's okay. What we're going to do then is simply lure him with a treat in our hand. We lure him, he sits, good boy, and then you give him the treat. We don't repeat the command, we don't say it over, we say it one time. Dog, sit. Does he respond? Yep, he sits right away. Good boy, give him a treat. The other option, dog, sit. Does he respond? Nope, he just stares at us. We don't repeat, we just take a treat in our hand, put it in front of his nose, up and over his head. We lure him, he sits. good boy, treat. Okay? You're going to probably at the start be seeing this side happen a lot, where you say the word and he doesn't quite do it, so you just have to lure him with a treat. And then eventually, once you are getting this side happening the majority of the time, you're saying the word and he is sitting for just the word, then you can move on to step 3. Step 2. So I'm going to say the word. If he sits, perfect, I give him a treat. If he doesn't sit, then I'm going to lure him. Alright, Max. Sit. Good boy, he does it. So he gets a treat right away. And move around a little bit, get him walking. Try again. Max, sit. Good, he does it. Just try one more time. Max. Max. Here. Here we go. Good boy. Max, sit. He doesn't do it, so I just lure him. Good boy. Okay. Step 2. Step 3 with teaching a dog to sit is very similar to step 2. The main difference now is we're no longer luring the dog. We're going to start weaning away the treat if he needs it. So, for step 3, you're going to say sit. Dog, sit. See if he responds. Does the dog sit right away just from you saying the word? If yes, good job, you give him a treat. Alright? Let's try the other side. Dog, sit. Does he respond? No. So what we're going to do this time is we're not going to lure him, but we're just going to give him a hand signal. And this whole time that we have been luring him from putting the food in our hand and going up and over his head, we've been teaching him the hand signal. The hand signal for sit is this. So we say the word, he doesn't respond, that's okay, we just give him the hand signal, no food in our hand though, and now that he responds, we're going to go ahead and give him a treat, but we're going to give him a treat with the opposite hand. So we start weaning away the treat and not relying on it to get the dog to listen, right? And the goal is to have as many responses on the yes side, that he's responding to just the word. Now if he's not responding to just the word, that's fine. We just practice luring him, right? Once you're getting mostly yeses, you're saying sit and he's sitting for just the word, you can move on to step 4. Step 3. Very similar to step 2. Now I'm going to say the word. Again, if the dog sits right away, we give him the treat. If he doesn't, now I'm going to just give him the hand signal, but we're not luring him. No more treat in my hands. This is actually okay. Max is already laying down, so you can have, if your dog, you can practice sit from laying down, from standing, and since he's already laying down, we'll just practice from here. So I say the word, Max sit, and he does it. Good boy. Good job. Okay, and now he's standing. Max sit. He doesn't do it. Hand signal, and I treat with the opposite hand. Because remember, we're weaning away the food lure now. Try it again. Max sit. He doesn't do it. Hand signal. Good boy. Treat with the opposite hand. Let's try one more time. Max sit. And this time he did it. Good. Treat with the opposite hand. Alright? Good. Step 3. Step 4 is where we teach the dog to generalize. That sit means sit anywhere. Because when you've just been practicing inside with very little to no distractions, and you try to take your dog outside where there's distractions, it's going to be much harder for him to listen. And he might not even listen at all. So what we're going to do, you've made it to step 3, you say the word, you say your dog's name, dog, sit. And the majority of the time he sits right away with just the word. Excellent. So now what we're going to do is we up the distractions. So to start off, I like to go to my front yard, or if at your guys' house, you go to your front yard, and you try to do step 3 in your front yard. You say your dog's name, sit. If he sits, excellent, that's what we want, treat right away. If he doesn't sit, remember step 3, we just give him the hand signal. Now, if you're out in your front yard, which is a higher level of distraction that your dog's not used to, you say sit, he doesn't sit, and you try to give him the hand signal like in step 3, and he still doesn't respond, then what we do is we go back down to step 2. And remember step 2, when the dog doesn't respond, we take a treat in our hand and we lure them into the position. And if our dog still can't focus and can't do that because we're in a higher level of distraction, that's okay, and it happens a lot. We go back down to step 1, where we tell the dog what he's doing while he's doing it. We take food, we lure him into the position, and then we say sit. And as you add higher levels of distraction, oftentimes you have to go down in the difficulty of the command. So now we have to go all the way back down to step 1 because we're out in the front yard, higher level of distraction. So we practice this way. And after a week, we get back up to step 2, and then we have really good progress, and after 3 days, we're all the way back up to practicing from step 3, the way we do in step 3, out in the front yard. And then a couple more days later, we're getting 95% success rate of just saying the word sit, and the dog's sitting in the front yard. Excellent. So what do we do now? Now we up the difficulty. And now what we do is we go to a park, a people park. And we get to the people park, and we tried step 3, and our dog's can't really do it. We're saying the word, he won't sit. We try the hand signal, he won't sit. So what do? We go back down to step 2. We say the word, he won't sit. Now we're going to lure him. We say the word, sit, he doesn't sit. Treat in our hand, it goes in front of his nose, up and over his head, and hey, he gets it, great. So now that we're at the park, we only have, the lowest we have to go is step 2. He's getting it. We don't have to go all the way down to step 1 this time. And then we practice for a few weeks, and sure enough, we get back up to step 3. And then once we're at step 3, now we up the difficulty once again, and now we go to the dog park. And you can add different difficulties. You know, you can go front yard, you can go to a people park, then go to a pet store, and then go to the beach. I mean, you can add different difficulties. The point here is every time you add a new level of distraction, a new environment, odds are you're going to have to go down and practice an easier version of the command. And then the more you practice the easier versions of the command, you'll eventually build back up to the top level where your dog is listening to you, okay? So keep this in mind. The higher level of distraction you go, in the beginning, you're probably going to have to go to an easier version of the command, with the end goal being, in any level of distraction, you have the maximum level of the command.